For those that you don't know me, my name is Shayna Daubert, and I'm the director of Kenyon's 50th Reunion Program. And I would like to welcome you to Some Things Get Better with Age, a class of 1972 virtual winter wine tasting led by Edward Cohen and joined by tasting leaders Chris Fallman, Chris Mavick, and Rick Ellis. I would like to thank Doug Holbrook for coordinating this event, the tasting leaders, and the tasting leaders for their love of wine, and the class of 1972 50th Reunion Committee for sponsoring the evening. 1972 is preparing to celebrate an important milestone as they near their 50th reunion. And on the committee's behalf, I would like to encourage anyone who is celebrating a reunion this year to join us in Gambier on May 26th through the 29th. Before we get started, I want to let you know that we are recording this session so we can share it with anyone who is unable to join us this evening. Now I would like to introduce Edward Cohen, a member of the class of 1974. He was inspired to begin guiding wine tastings during a bicycle trip in the south of France. Enjoying great wine and food with friends in a casual atmosphere is the heart of his business named Drink, Wine, and Learn. Edward's mission is to improve your enjoyment and understanding of the wines you drink and purchase. Since his trip, Edward has completed the Court of Master Sommeliers Level 1 course and the exam. He also has a diploma from the program for wine professionals at St. Paul College. He is currently studying through the Wine and Spirits Education Trust of London and is certified, having completed the Advanced Level 3. He also studied and passed the Wine Scholar Guild course for Wines of France. And during COVID, he has hosted weekly wine Zooms, which have continued. Edward, we look forward to learning from you and the tasting leaders as we drink our favorite wines. So thank you for joining us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, all right then. So the wine is kind of like baseball and golf and music. The more you know about it, the more interesting it is. I think. A lot of people say, hey, I like this wine. What else do I need to know? But I think if you have an inquisitive nature, you're going to wonder what all these wines are in the wine stores, lining the shelves in all directions, and what are all these wines on a wine menu at a restaurant. And so to demystify this and to help people understand, well, should I get the Merlot or should I try this Barolo? What does that mean? So that's the idea. Get to know what these different wines are, and then maybe, you'll enjoy drinking wine even more. That's all I can hope for. And so the course that I learned the most from is this one. This is the Wine, Spirits and Education Trust of London Systematic Approach to Wine. So wine is essentially three things: the way it looks, the way it smells, and the way it tastes. My wine's been open for an hour and it's getting better. And that's true of a lot of wines. It's a chemical reaction that takes place where the wine and oxygen mix. And it's high, Jeff Newton. And I don't know, it'll very often make a wine that's a little sharp get a little softer. Or a wine that's a little tight. By tight, we mean tannic, means it tastes like a stem. And then that tannic quality will start to soften with the air. That's the reason that wine bottles have corks in them, to keep the wine from getting out, and also to let the air in slowly, a little at a time, over time. And that way the wine oxidizes slowly. And then in 10, 20, 30 years, if it's a fine Barolo or something like that, it'll have gotten enough oxygen to let it expand its flavor without spoiling. because most of you know, if you leave a bottle of wine open for a week, go back to drink it, you could make salad dressing out of it. It's going to taste like vinegar. And that's what oxidation does. But somewhere between too tight and too vinegary is where wine wants to be when you drink it. And that's, other stuff. I'm not really going to lecture anybody. I think we should start drinking it and talking about it. That's what's really fun for me. That's why I do this. So I would like to, I'm going to throw the ball to Chris Fallman and let him start. Chris, you want to tell us a little bit about your wine?
I will. So Nancy, of course, set the bar pretty high, although I found it interesting that she had just sort of randomly picked those bottles up. At least she confessed that at the time. But that being said, she was passionate about it. So this is a wine that I didn't know very well, but I've become passionate about it. And so I will try and go through this, but if I miss some of the things, prompt me and we'll go from there. First of all, I look at the appearance, the looks. So it's clear, but it's very dense. So it's opaque in a sense, but it's not dusty or murky or anything like that. It's very clear.
Cloudy, yeah.
And it's got a little bit of a halo around where it hits the glass. So that's my first impression. And the color is sort of ruby red, deep ruby red.
Deep ruby.
And it has a little bit of flashes of purple or something in it. So,
okay. Yeah.
I'm an art major, so bear with me. So
you're allowed to say that.
The word that you're going to hear most often probably out of me, which is a compliment in this case, is that it's very balanced. It's very enjoyable right now. And throughout it, the nose, for example, is right down the middle of the fairway. It's very aromatic. It's and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I would say that the intensity of it is medium plus. It's not over, but it's certainly strong.
Above average, yeah.
Yeah. The impression that I have of the aroma is the first thing the word that hits me first out of all the different distinguishing characteristics is fruit. And it's dark fruits, purple fruits. It's blueberries and more blackberries than anything else. But it's very satisfying and hangs on the tongue, but it doesn't, if you press me for a floral, I would say it's probably maybe a little violet, little lavender, something like that.
Matches the purple, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that's notable, I think, is the earth, and it's not any of the things that are offered there. It's probably forest more than anything, just because it's not heavily woody. Probably got oak more than anything else, I would say. And it has sort of a leathery taste to it. Again, the acidity is balanced. The flavor sustains very nicely, so it doesn't trail off. It also doesn't turn from medium to acidic or whatever, but it's got a nice mouthfeel. It's got a good coating. And it has, back to a little bit of, it has nice legs, so that sort of speaks to the viscosity of it, so it holds a little bit. What else? All of the things that I would ordinarily talk about, dryness, acidity, tannins, whatever, are medium.
Okay.
Right down the middle of the fairway. So
it's a little bit tannic, but not like bitter tannic.
No, not at all.
It's a little bit acidic, but not sour acidic.
Right.
A little bit of acid makes it mouth-watering, makes you want to drink more.
Yes.
And it's also very good when you're eating food that has fat in it, because the acid and the fat work together.
I know one of the things that we had fun with the last time we talked was to think about pairings. So I can go there, or the other thing that you challenged us to think about was old world or new world. So
Right.
have at me. Ask me what you want, and we'll see whether we can figure this out.
Is it a
What's
single
the-
varietal?
Hey, Chris, what's
Yeah.
the alcohol?
I didn't even look. It doesn't present itself. I would have to look it up. So
Sometimes you can feel the alcohol like as it in your
Yeah.
body, like you feel the heat of
I
it.
can't feel it.
Sometimes you can smell the alcohol.
13.5%.
Wow.
13.5. Okay. That's still considered medium in the new vernacular.
Yeah.
You know, one of the questions that I have about this is, because I'm enjoying it so much and it's still a relatively young wine, I wonder whether it will improve with age. I don't know that. I mean, it came out so balanced from the
Right.
get-go. And so,
Well, the way you describe it, Chris, it seems so balanced that it seems like it's got everything it needs for the journey.
yeah.
You know, it's not quite often if the wine is overwhelmingly acidic or oaky or alcoholic or whatever. It's got nowhere to go as a complete unit.
Yeah.
Well, when everything you said, it seems to fall into balance. And so my thinking is that it's not that it will improve, but that it will stay where it is for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you another little hint. You may know that we at the Gun Gallery used to every week offer the faculty and staff at Kenyon a wine happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
That got discontinued with COVID, but this varietal is the #1 choice of faculty and staff at the, and it's not a runaway or exclusively, but it's the most on-demand one. So that tells you more about Kenyon probably than the wine. But,
So is it old world?
New World,
Yeah.
New World.
I understand it.
Yeah. All that nice balance is very New World, no tannic quality. This, I don't know, this sounds an awful lot like a Sonoma Cabernet to me. What do you think, Bruce?
It does. It sounds like a Sonoma Cabernet that's been well made, something like that. Yep.
My pairing, I'll just offer that. It has a broad range, I think, of things that it could pair up with. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to have a bison ribeye at Christmas. And this is my wine that I've chosen for that.
So Chris, does it have a little bit of clay in it, sort of, or is it more of a stony edge? And
Probably a little bit more clay if I had to pitch one way or the other.
could it be Washington State cab?
I hope I haven't led people astray with the New World designation. It's from Argentina.
Oh,
That New World.
wow.
Well, purple is Malbec.
And what's the variety? So is it Malbec?
Yes,
I
it
think
is.
it's Malbec, yeah.
Wow.
Hold it up.
That's a low alcohol for Malbec.
And it's a Catena Malbec. It's a 2018, and it's a bargain at $20. And it was rated at 93, 94 points. So it's very good.
The Catena family vines are over 100 years old.
So maybe it's old world in that sense. I don't
Yeah.
know, but
Yeah.
I enjoy it very much. So that's my testimonial. So
Cool.
That's a winner, man. That's a real winner. Okay, so now you see how we do this. You kind of go through the appearance, the aroma, the palate, and if it's a single varietal, we'll try to guess where it's from. Anybody ready to tell us about their wine? Don't be shy.
I'd like to,
Okay,
if I may.
please.
I've got one of my favorite bottles. Unfortunately, it's my last bottle, so I won't be able to share this with friends and family. But the color is a wonderfully clear garnet. It's got a jewel-like gleam to it. It is a little bit brown at the edges.
Uh-huh.
In terms of the nose, I get a mixture of cherries, but not, but like cherries that have been soaked in brandy.
Huh.
Just have extracted the cherry aroma. Plus, there's some a little bit of forest floor, I'd say, and some licorice too. In terms of flavor, and once again, like Chris, it's kind of medium.
Mhm.
But in terms of the flavor, it's a very interesting combination of being very soft, balanced tannins. The oak has just rounded things out, hasn't added any oak flavor. But it also, to quote Chris earlier, it kind of punches above its weight. So the aroma makes you think it's going to be something pretty light and easy. And the finish just keeps on going on and on. In terms of aging, it's 2015. I think it has matured quite a bit. I think it's going to go on for, for a number of years. It's in terms of food, I wish I could smell a pot of pasta with porcini mushrooms cooking in our kitchen, because that would be absolutely perfect with this.
Huh.
Rick, that's what I'm having tonight for dinner.
Is that right?
Pasta with mushrooms. If there's only a way to hand the glass through the window, and then would be absolutely great. Well, gosh, if you say pasta and you say cherries, you're saying Italy. That's what I think. I think it's an Italian wine, a Chianti, or maybe even a Brunello.
Well,
Anybody else had a wine that sounds like this? How dark is the wine? Is it light?
It's very light.
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 Oh.
To the point that
Okay.
I
And it's
was
not Brunello.
somewhat worried when I poured the first sip, but it's won me over again.
Cherries.
So we've established we're in Italy, is that correct?
No.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it?
We're in Italy. So are we in South Italy in a volcanic soil like Sardinia or something?
When you say volcanic, there's only one volcano that comes to mind.
Yeah,
Vesuvius?
fair enough.
Etna? I think if it's a light colored wine
South of
with a
Naples.
cherry aroma, this wine's going to have a lot of length left in it if it's a Barolo.
Well, Bruce was right when he guessed a volcano.
I guess it's south of Naples. You're down somewhere.
In Sicily?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sicily. Etna,
I think
Rosso.
To my mind, there are two volcanoes that come to mind, in active volcanoes that come to mind in Italy.
Okay, well, if it's near Mount Etna,
Bingo.
then it could be an Etna Rosso, or it could be Aglianico, or
Yeah, it could be
Yeah,
even a Pinot Noir there.
yeah.
No, it's Nerello Muscatese is the grape, which I like to describe as love child of Syrah and Pinot Noir.
Right.
That's not true botanically, but that's where it sort of comes together. And this is from Pietrodolce, is the name of the winery.
Label.
And it's on the north side of Etna in Sicily, and it's Nerello Musculesi was kind of what can I say, a heirloom tomato type grape that almost died out. And fortunately, a few very enlightened people have kept it going. And I'll stop talking soon, but my favorite story is friends who have been on vineyards say that almost every day the soil is a different color, because Etna does this little poof, and all of a sudden the soil is blue, or the next day it's orange, or whatever, depending on what came out from the mini eruption. And that adds so much complexity to the whole package.
Rick, let me ask a quick follow-on question.
Sure.
Given that that's the character of that area, do you think that different vintages would be wildly different of the same grape? Maybe
Yes.
Terroir would just turn something granite, and next year it would be flint, or whatever.
Yeah, that's a very wise assumption. And the vineyards, these vineyards are 1,000, 2,000 feet above sea level. Etna Rosso gets up to 3,000 in some places, but the grape remains the same, but the soils change, and that's so different from other places where the terroir is what it is, wonderful, but that it doesn't change, and Etna has so much interest in complexity because of that. It also means, Chris, to your point, that the yields can go from profitable to failure very quickly.
Mhm. Nice old world wine.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, we've done pretty well so far. Would Tom Moore or David Bergman like to tell us about their wine? Come
I
on.
don't drink at all, so I haven't ever drank. So I'm here to listen to this conversation because I hear wine talk all the time, and because I don't drink, I have no idea what it's about. But I'm just delighted to be here.
Well, it's nice to
Well,
have you.
it's great to have you here.
You probably
Well,
remember.
David, I do drink, and I don't know what anybody's talking about either. So
It's like reading poetry when you're not a poet. It's still okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just going to say I don't drink either, and I just am delighted to see everyone's faces and hear their voices. So,
All right.
can pass to someone who did bring a wine.
Did anybody else bring a wine?
Yeah, I've got a white wine.
Okay, Bruce.
I would call it a medium color.
Okay.
It's got, I'd say, medium floral notes. I'm with Chris. This one kind of goes down the middle of the road. It's medium alcohol. It's got good earth. I would call it sort of a gravelly, stony kind of thing. It would go well with fish or something like that. It is. It's got a nice, long, even finish, but not a huge, big wine. It's
Okay.
not like a Chardonnay Cabam thing or something like that.
Uh-huh. Does it lean more towards like the lemon and lime fruits, or more towards like the peach and pineapple fruits, or the pear and apple fruits?
I'd say more pear and apple.
Pear and apple. Okay.
Is it light, or is it have an intense flavor, or?
I'd say it's medium, but it's got a good bit of grip maybe in the middle.
Okay.
But not big.
It doesn't look oaky in the glass.
Looks
No.
very, very light colored.
Yeah, I call it kind of medium, but yeah, it's not dark.
Uh-huh.
Not lots of oak.
Oh, it
Lots of
does.
oak or no?
I would guess it's older oak.
Okay.
Oh, so it is oaked.
Well,
You
tell you
said-
some, but I don't think a lot. It's not like a California wine.
Right.
Okay.
Old world.
Okay. So it's Burgundy.
You
It's
know what?
Chablis.
Maybe it could be. It's you're getting there, but it's
I
not.
vote for Chablis.
Well, that's Burgundy. Maybe it's a Pinot Grigio.
No,
No. Pear and apple.
Is it,
it's closer to Pinot Grigio than Chablis, though.
more fruity or floral or minerally?
I'd say
Right.
mineral, good mineral, solid mineral.
Oh my goodness. Are we going into Germany here?
No,
Spain?
You think Spain, huh?
I don't know.
Pear
it's
apple.
kind of a slightly
Oh,
obscure
Blanc.
part of France. We'll keep you in France. It's sort of an obscure part of France. That's makes a very interesting wine with a grape that tastes very differently from how they do it in California.
Interesting clue.
And not Chardonnay, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Grape do we do in California?
I need to know the name because that's exactly the kind of wine I really do like. It's a white.
The reason I'm passionate about this wine is it's undervalued, underappreciated. And there's a district right next to it that used to be famous. It's even more bargain and really, really well made. The quality of the wine for the cost is amazing. It's like a Spanish wine. This isn't Spanish, but it's the kind of thing where dollar for value, it's phenomenal.
Perfect.
It sounds like Alsatian. Is it in a tall, thin bottle?
No. It's kind of the right clue. I would go with Alsatians are very similar to this, but it's like that. It's an undervalued area of France. Where two rivers come together.
Ah,
And
So-
barge trips happen all the time.
Yeah, it's in the
So-
Loire Valley.
There you go.
It's
Yeah.
a
so
Sancerre.
it's Puy Fumé.
It is a Sancerre, yeah.
Mhm.
What is this Sancerre?
Menetou Salon is next door and a really good value and
Ah.
even cheaper. Both of them are just stunningly wonderful wines. Hardly ever have a bad bottle, and you can get lots of it for $20. It's great stuff.
Wow.
Really? I need that because Sancerre is my Christmas wine because that's the only time I care to afford it.
Okay, go on WTSO, winestillsoldout.com. You'll see it all the time. It's something people don't obviously know or something.
Right.
It comes up in the $20 range from good makers. This is a Charrier Ferrer.
Show us.
They make wonderful wines. Nobody makes bad wine.
Can you hold the bottle close to the camera so we can see the label? Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Big 7. Les 7. The
The
7
Seven
men.
men.
And I just one of the older ones I've got just to see how it would come out. And the news is get it now because the 21, they had a big frost and there's going to be a huge loss of production. So
Yeah.
buy the 20s as much as you can. And
Okay.
you'll see them on WTSO, that you get a blizzard of emails, but you just delete the ones you're not interested in. When Sancerre comes up, you just buy 4 or 6 or whatever, and it's the greatest value on the planet.
Okay.
And what
And so
is
is it domestic or
WTS?
does it have to be imported? I
No,
mean,
no,
I know it's imported, but can you get it domestically?
oh yeah,
easily.
yeah. Wine Still Sold Out is an American company, and they get stuff. I don't know if it's tag ends or bad inventory, or people can't sell whatever, but they have a really good value. And you just get this blizzard of emails, and they send you stuff, and you buy a few here and there, and they ship it FedEx to your door.
Okay.
Yep. Comes right to your house.
Yeah, and you'll love it. I mean, the Sancerres are stunning wines.
That's
I
great
love them.
information.
That is my
So true.
favorite. Their Nays was a backup because they didn't have a Sancerre.
Well, now
That
you don't have to wait
information
until
is
Christmas.
That information is worth the price of admission tonight, you know?
Yeah.
I think the problem is, Chris, I think the retailers, particularly in Ohio, where we live, and a lot of people here aren't in Ohio, but they can't make money because nobody knows what the heck it is. So why would you stock a bunch of Sancerre when nobody knows what the hell it is? So they just don't buy any. So I think it backs up in the channel a bit, and they say, okay, just get this stuff out of here.
Mhm.
And for $20 or so, you get yourself a really nice bottle of wine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, how did you get the wine you talked about tonight? Did you buy it in Ohio or?
I did. And I was going to whine about that for a little bit because, you know, those of you who know Gambier know that you have to drive some distance to get a decent bottle of wine.
Mhm.
So I looked at my cellar, and I either had a couple things that were more expensive than our target, or a lot of crap but drinkable.
Mhm.
So I went to Newark, and I found it there. And there's a nice
Okay.
little wine store on 62 that has stuff. So yeah, I was able to get it not too far away. So,
Okay.
but the Rite Aid, which is our alcohol emporium, now Shana's funny laughing.
The
but
Rite
Cold
Aid.
medicine.
The Rite Aid drugstore is where we get our.
Medicine and there's medicine.
I know, well,
It's
That
awful.
wine can
And-
be used for
And
your
did you say
booster.
Target?
Target.
So, Rite Aid.
Right.
Okay. Oh, but somebody had mentioned,
Newark is where I went to get the wine, though.
Don't-
okay.
don't
You
Yeah.
have to be
confuse it
crafty
with
in order to find
rubbing
it.
alcohol.
What's
Don't
that?
confuse it with rubbing alcohol.
Right. If it tastes like rubbing alcohol, don't buy it again.
Yeah. I can report on the mouthwash next time.
Excellent.
Yeah, we don't,
Okay.
you know, we still have to buy, well, no, you can get wine in the grocery store, wine and beer.
Hmm.
Who else brought a wine or is drinking a wine?
I am.
And I did.
I'm gonna. Am I up?
You're
Yes.
ready. Hit us.
Because on mine,
You're
I
always up.
You're our muse for the evening.
am. No,
Yeah.
I'm not on mute.
Oh, you are. Because you're passionate about your wine.
Ah,
Actually, this one is a pleasant surprise that I won't serve at Christmas. It's a red wine, so everything except the absolute passion and the holiday serving, because this is probably not right for that. It is a deep ruby red,
okay.
almost purple, but I'm gonna stay on the red side of purple. It's clear. I don't know about legs or anything. But
Okay.
it had, when I took the first taste when I was getting it ready to bring, is it really does have, it did smell a little bit smoky,
Hmm.
and it did, because now I've had cheese and more wine and doesn't smell so smoky, but it's good. The best part of this is the pairing and the story, because it's a terrific plum market. I was hoping Larry Harbison would be here because he would know what plum market is. Maybe you guys do. They have them in Ohio. Anyway, the people in the wine department are very knowledgeable and very friendly and really, really good. And I've gotten to know them a little bit. So I said, I have to bring a bottle of red wine for dinner. And so he's steering me toward the Cabernets and all this sort of stuff. And I
Mhm.
said, and they're serving barbecue ribs. And they go to the other side of the, so the pairing is probably one of the better giveaways. It is a Californian wine, easily available, right in the right around $18 price range. And it's a kind of grape that I've never really paid any attention to because I haven't needed to. If I need a red wine, I'll go get a Cabernet or a Pinot Noir, or even a Beaujolais Nouveau, one of those. So I hadn't tried this particular kind of deep red wine. And so then I did my homework for tonight. I looked it all up.
Mhm.
And sure enough, the flavors I was tasting, and the pairings are exactly what the man at the store suggested that I do. So there you go. What goes well with ribs?
Chris?
And the jammy taste that, barbecue sauce would have.
Mhm.
Jammy is a word that might give it away.
It has a rich fruit flavor, concentrated.
Yes. It's
Is it at all spicy?
no, I would say not. It doesn't lead with fruit. It leads more with the smoky and the I wouldn't call it I wouldn't think of it as a fruity wine like I might with the Beaujolais. But I mean, obviously it has fruit, but it's dark fruits. It's berries and yeah. I'm gonna look at what I'm supposed to say. It is blackberry, vanilla, and plum, but you really could taste the plum. Like the smoke and the plums are what came out first when I was fresh at
Smoky
this.
plums. Gosh.
But it's the pairing, guys. It's the pairing. What
It's
goes with
good.
barbecue ribs? You guys don't eat barbecue
Zinfandel.
ribs. Clearly, you're.
I like
Everyone is
Zinfandel.
kosher.
I
That's-
like
that's-
Zinfandels with ribs myself. So
What do you like?
Zinfandels.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's probably the good answer.
Yeah, Zins should
That's
go
what
very
this
well.
is.
They're huge.
It's a Zinfandel.
It's a Zinfandel.
It is
Metler.
a Zinfandel. It's a
Okay.
Metler.
Well done.
Funny bottle for a Zin, but that's okay.
Oh, well, it's what it looks like.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, that's a
So
Zinfandel.
it's Metler Family Vineyards. Out it says Old Vine.
Old
Zinfandel.
vine.
Old Vine, not wine, vine. Lodi.
Ah,
Lodi.
Lodi.
area.
Then,
Lodi.
Rick, you
So
want to
that's
tell them what Lodi means?
it's the appellation, and it's an area.
Yeah. It's kind of the valley. It's kind of the warmer part. It's away from the coastline. So the
Uh-huh.
grapes get really ripe. And the wines are
Okay.
very robust and intense.
Yes.
when they're-
yeah,
Yeah. But the cool thing is that Lodi has very sandy soil because it's the Sacramento Delta. And so phylloxera, the terrible pest that devastated the vineyards, has never gotten a foothold.
Mhm.
So when they say old vine, they mean old vine. They mean Italian immigrants packed this stuff in their baggage because they didn't know what kind of hell they were going and they wanted to make
America?
they had vines. And so they're routinely in Lodi. Eddie's right, it gets hot.
It gets
but
hot.
Yeah.
The rootstock and the fruit quality is 120, 130 years old. I mean, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So here is my problem
Is-
with old vines. Back to you, Eddie. Is that
Sure.
considered old world or new world?
It's where it is grown is whether it's old world or new world.
Okay.
Not
So
whether
whether
where
it
the
came
vines
from
came from.
Italy and
Mm.
has its origin there is not the issue. It's where it currently is growing.
There's really old vines in Corsica. There's really old vines in Spain. Also, sandy
actually, the
soil.
French got most of their cuttings from us when they had the phylloxera. They took cuttings from
Yeah.
California and took them back over because
that
most of
right?
them died. So all the rootstock is really the issue. But then how old it gets.
Mhm. But that was-
Unfortunately, in California, the old vines means nothing. It's not a legal designation. And it's kind of a window dressing sort of a thing. And so it's up to the integrity of the vintner as to whether they're really talking about old vines. The cool thing in Lodi, it's easy to say old vines because they're all so old. It's remarkable, but
This is 1899.
Mhm.
yeah,
That's a very good deal.
yeah.
It's a really good deal. There's another good wine that I always recommend to people. That's an amazing deal, and it's made by Bogle, Bogle.
Yeah.
And they make an old vine Zinfandel that's got all that punch, all that intensity and density. And yeah, it's under $20 for sure. But that's a good one, Nancy. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
good description.
When you're having ribs, then we'll go for it.
Smoky plum.
Smoky.
Smoky
I was
plum
struck by
wine.
the smokiness when I first tasted it,
Mhm.
and it wasn't even toothpaste and then wine smokiness. It was all there.
Good chance that's from the barrel, though. A lot of times they'll cure these wines in oak barrels that have been charred with
Mhm.
either a fire or even a blowtorch, and then the charred oak on the inside of the barrel will give it
Mhm.
that smoky flavor. And this is a
Okay.
technique that's been around forever. Heavy
I'm
char,
looking-
light char, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
2.0
Doesn't mention
stuff.
charred barrels, but
No, they won't say that. But you told us when you said smoky.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Eddie, I know you're the leader But
no.
I would love to hear about the wine that a woman named Jazz Glastra brought to the party.
Okay. Jazz,
I see her drinking, so I think she's got something.
we better get to her quickly then.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jazz.
Class of 2011, crashing the party here.
Uh-huh.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I did bring a wine. I bought it at the fine establishment called Costco,
Mhm.
and it is a single varietal, New World. I will do my very best to describe this, but I'm certainly not as skilled as many of you are.
We'll guide you.
What's that?
We'll guide you. What color is it?
Thank you. Okay, so I would say it's like dirty red, like a little brownish red, more of a, and it's pretty clear. Like I don't, there's not a lot of opacity.
So dirty red, we call that garnet.
Okay, yes,
Garnet
garnet.
is the official term for it. Okay,
Great.
good. You're doing fine. Keep going. What does it smell like when you stick your
And-
nose in it? What's the first thing you think of when you smell it?
I really just get cherries,
Cherries.
just a lot of cherries.
Okay.
Maybe like something a little bit minerally,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, but mostly just cherries for me.
Cherries. And so a little bit of mineral or possibly an earth aroma?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
It's not, well, it's not like a, it doesn't smell like, you know, the woods or something like that. It's more of like a, it's like a not an organic kind of a smell. It's, I would say it's more of like the mineral-y type of thing.
Okay. Cherries and minerals. Okay, good. Now let's talk about the flavor. What's the first thing you notice when you sip it?
I would say, I think probably the acidity. Like
Okay.
it's definitely like a bit sharp. It's sharper than stuff that I would than I normally drink. There are definitely some tannins, like you get a little bit of like, you know,
That dryness in your mouth.
tanniny feeling on your tongue. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What's the body of the wine like? Is it sort of light, medium, or heavy?
I'm gonna say light.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it does, like, there is definitely like the kind of berry fruity flavor, but it's more, it's not that sweet. It is pretty, a little bit sharp, like I said, higher acid, I think.
Huh. Yes, acidic and garnet. This is a paradox. I initially thought
I could
oh,
also
yeah,
just
yeah,
be
this-
wrong.
This has got a Pinot Noir.
I
but-
thought Pinot, but it doesn't sound right now, yeah.
Yeah, I thought Pinot, but
Is it Spanish? Well, you said
No, it's
California.
New World.
You said
New World.
California.
world.
California. I would
If
Could
it's
be
the one that,
California.
if it's the one that I buy at Costco, it's artisan.
Artisan.
Artisan, yes.
Doesn't sound like a Zinfandel, though. We just heard Zinfandel from Nancy.
Yeah.
This is hard to say. It's unusual.
I can tell you there's like no, when I swirl it on the glass, like there's really no legs to speak of at all.
So it's a low
There,
alcohol.
also, I don't know if this is helpful at all, but the year is 2015.
Okay. That's why it's turning garnet if it's Pinot Noir. Can't think it could be anything other than that. Not with these colors and cherries.
Shiraz.
Or it could be from New Zealand. That would make it sharp.
Would.
New Zealand's
That's
a
getting
little cooler.
closer. Yeah, that's
Getting
closer.
closer?
An Australian one.
Yes, it is
Mhm.
Australian.
Wow. Could it be a light Shiraz? I don't know.
No,
Okay, so it's so you basically you're getting cherries, but you're getting more mineral flavor.
more, I don't get the mineral flavor, just like a little bit of mineral aroma to it.
Mineral aroma. So what describe the flavors you're getting and how concentrated are they?
Okay, I'm gonna have to take another sip.
Whatever it takes. We need answers. Australian what?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I get is the like kind of, like I said, the acid, like kind of at the front of my tongue, on the front of my mouth, and then
Mm-hmm.
some fruitiness. I'm, don't have a very refined palate over here, but I don't really get a mineral flavor. There's a little bit of spice, like a little bit, but not a ton.
Is it from Mornington Peninsula?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's from, I did Google map it. It is from, somebody already said Australia, so I'll tell you it's from Southern Australia. Or I think it's from the province or the state or province or whatever of South Australia.
South Australia, that's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Well, Australia's messing around with all kinds of varietals. So it could, aren't they? I mean, like Shiraz, they're famous for. They do grow Cabernet. They do grow Pinot Noir. But beyond that, it starts to get a little experimental in Australia. And
They use a lot of Grenache mixed with.
Grenache, yeah.
Oh yeah, Grenache. But Grenache is usually fruitier, isn't it?
Well, it's often mixed with some of the less fruity ones sometimes to make them drinkable now and then drinkable later as well.
So somebody actually, I didn't quite catch it because I'm on my phone and the screen changes every 2 seconds, but somebody did mention it. Should I just tell you what the varietal is?
Sure. Listen.
It's Cabernet Sauvignon. And
Wow.
yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So it's this,
Cab. Interesting.
it's called Mrs. Q and it's from Coonawarra.
Oh, Coonawarra is a great Cabernet region.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you're saying it's kind of acidic, huh?
I mean,
cool.
yeah, it's definitely like a little bit lip puckery. It was not what I expected. It's really different from most Cabernets that I've had.
Yeah.
It's funny, Costco, I think, is still the #1 wine seller in the United States, or maybe in the world, I don't know. But
Wow.
but I know that they're not very gentle with their wines, and so that always is a wild card. You can end up with something that's been sitting in a, in a cargo container in the parking lot for a while. So
Well, this is
therefore, it's brown.
2015.
What's that?
Huh. It's 2015. So either they bought it like you're saying, they bought an odd lot so they could sell it, or they bought it a while back because it would have been released in 2016 or 2017.
Did you
That's
buy
4
this
years ago.
recently?
I did probably a couple months ago. Yeah. 2 or 3
Wow.
months ago.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it was, I'm sure I wouldn't have, I bought a couple random things. I don't remember exactly how much this one was, but it was probably in the $20 range. It hasn't, I just opened it up like a few minutes before this call started and it has mellowed out a little bit, but it hasn't changed all that much. I think like the cherry aroma was stronger at first and now I'm getting like a little bit more complexity, but we'll see what it does over the next couple of hours of being open.
Do you have any green olives? This
I
is a
do,
trick.
actually.
If you have a sour wine and you eat a green olive, those 2 sours cancel each other out and you taste the fruit. Just something that might be fun to try. If you have the time. We have the time.
Yeah, I do have some green
It's an
olive.
idea.
I'm
Something different.
gonna put myself back on mute, but I'll let you know after I experiment with the green
Okay.
olives.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining us,
Thank
Jess.
you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good choice.
Bud, did you bring a wine tonight?
Well, I did. I'll bring the one that is the reason that I can't drink wine tonight. And I'll see what people think about, because I would like to sit here and sip it, but I'm not going to be able to. This is you can't really see it because it's so bright.
I'm going to put it closer to the lens of the computer.
Oop,
Keep
there we
going.
go.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Chateau 16. Spelled T-I. Chateau Neuf. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a Chateau Neuf de Pape.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the reason is that after about a glass and a half of this, I went into atrial fib. And it lasted all night, and it's still in and out of it today, and I'm really pissed off. I think I also ate some toffee with lots of chocolate on it, and those 2 things have been known to do this before to me.
Oh my God.
But I also, whatever I know about wine, I learned from a young man from Australia who came and trained with us here in Nebraska in gastroenterology and then hepatology. And he made money during his years in college and medical school and even during his medicine residency by knowing what wines were coming out, tasting them, and then buying the ones that he thought were really going to be blockbusters. And he won over and over again. And he would often take his wine in and sell it and then get 3 times as much. He would actually trade it and then buy, like 3 times as much bottles. And when I told him I don't drink red wine anymore, this would have been in probably around 1990. I said, I can't do it because I get these absolutely killer headaches at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And everybody tells me I drank too much, but even if I drink like half a glass, it happens. And my heart rate goes up to about 140. So I'm getting some sort of histamine reaction to it.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I get that too. It's because they are using French wine or French oak and not American oak. And ever since then, I've sort of tested this out and it ends up, it's pretty true.
Huh.
And even if you find if I find a French wine that doesn't cause this in me, it almost always has been aged on American oak, not French oak. So I've passed that advice on to others who say I can't drink red wine. And there are a few of them that have contacted me back and said, you're right, that was really good. And this was a kind of a wild shot or a long shot at a French wine. I found that a lot of the French wines I actually can drink without problems, but don't ever ask me to drink a glass of the Cabernet from California because they're just too much. And but for some reason, this one, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I drank too much or something, but anyway, I'm not going to risk it. I'm still struggling to get my heart rate back. In terms of one that I really, really am looking forward to drinking someday.
Penfolds. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. When can we come?
Yeah, I know. It's
one of the 3 best wines in the world.
I'm trying to make it so you can see the 80 something on there, 89.
Turn it a little bit for us.
Wow.
That should be stunning.
Yeah. And holding that one around. I had about 5 of the 6, about a half of a case for a while that I bought with this friend I was talking to, and it's gone up in value substantially since then.
Bring it to the reunion if you like, and we'll try and keep up.
And then one thing I wanted to ask about is whether or not anybody is familiar with Sean Thackeray.
Oh yeah.
The Rhone
Ranger.
The Rhone Ranger.
Oh yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah. So I've had at least 5 or 6 bottles in the past of most of his vintages. They're all a little bit different. Some of them are tremendously different, but they tend to, it does really pretty much taste like a Rhone, but he's always just trying different blends and things to make it taste different. And I found it a lot of fun. You have to be on the lookout for when he's going to release them and try to get in early to buy them because they get snatched up pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anybody.
He's based in Berkeley, isn't he?
I thought it was down south of San Francisco, but I could be wrong.
I think he purchases grapes, but makes these incredible wines. Just wonderful.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he named a bunch of them after, these are the Pleiades, and Pleiades or whatever you pronounce it. And he also made the Ryan and Cassiopeia, and I mean, I can't remember, but he often names them after a constellation.
Yeah.
But now this is the he then numbers the Constellation versions, and
Wow.
this is one of the, like, maybe the third or fourth highest price. It's not that bad. I think this was in the $30 range or so. And this is my last one, so.
Wow. So Bud, when you hear that knock at your door, it's
Yeah.
going to be about 5 of us showing up.
Okay. That's good, because I'm drinking less and less of this because my heart doesn't like it as much. My palate loves it, but I've found it a good Shiraz is hard for me to stop drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With that lot of, as somebody I once said, yeah, there's sort of a leathery taste to it. He says, do you mean saddle leather or holster leather?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the best thing I've heard tonight. That's great. I love
My
it.
response was, I'm thinking shoe leather.
Are you talking Jimmy Choo, or what are we talking about here? Lone Ranger?
Bondage leather. Yeah, there you go.
Ah,
Oh.
yes, of course.
Black leather, yeah.
Whip leather?
So who's next?
I don't know. That's my wife, Abby.
Doug.
She'll
Doug, did you bring something?
yeah, come on, Doug.
I did bring something. We're now going to like really lower the bar here in terms of wine intelligence. Because
What did you find a place to buy Ripple? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Actually, what I did was I asked my sister to pick one. I'm staying at her place for the pandemic, and Eddie can tell you because he's been going through these wine seminars with me continuously at the apartment in New York, and I don't seem to get it. So
you get it.
But anyways, so here's the story first, okay? Because you wanted the story. I mean, Nancy always had a story. We had a dinner party here at the farmhouse this summer, and we were cooking steaks, and this was the wine my sister was serving with the steak. And, you know, it was a basic, grilled meal outdoors. And one of the other guests came and brought the same wine. And she said that her son had gave it to her when they had gone on a trip somewhere. And he said he really liked it. And it turned out another person really liked the exact same wine. So I guess it's fairly accessible. And the thing is, it's a red wine, and we're going to have it, I think, for Christmas dinner. I think my sister's going to cook, I guess you call it duck maigre. Is that right?
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she's pairing these two together, but her feeling was the wine was just good and all our friends liked it. So that was the story. All right. So I would say that when I first opened it up and poured it in, it was fairly clear, but over the discussions, it's gotten a little hazier, and it has a deep red. I can't see the browns, but then I'm partially colorblind, so that doesn't help. But it has that halo, a slight halo. I heard Chris talk about that. I hadn't even thought about that. And legs, I guess, are the things when you sort of swirl it around that it stays on the sides.
Right.
Has a little bit of legs. And aroma. Now, Eddie, this part I did learn about, you know, I don't have to stick my nose in to smell it. And it smells fruity. And in the beginning, when I first poured it, you know, it hadn't aired a lot. It was really fruity. But over time, it's gotten a little maybe drier. I guess, is it the tannins that get you on the sides of your tongue?
Yep.
Okay, so it has a little bit of that, but not a ton.
Some tannin. Okay.
Some tannin.
Can you describe the fruit to us, Doug? Is it more of a blackberry or more of a cherry or more of a raspberry?
Not a dark berry or a plum.
Plum or currant? Would it be currant?
Well, look, I don't even know what the hell a currant tastes like, so how would I know? So, so the palate, acidity, not very sour. It's
Okay.
pretty much, you know, I find it kind of mild and smooth. It's definitely not like, it's not like a complex wine. I guess that's what you call like a Cabernet Sauvignon, right? Is complex. There's a lot of stuff going there.
Can be.
Alcohol is about 13%.
Okay.
And the body, I would say, is medium. It's not real heavy, but it's not real light. But
Okay.
if it leans anyway, it leans a little bit light.
Okay.
What's that? And then there's no oakiness or anything like that
Okay.
that I noticed. Okay.
Okay.
Now I can read to you what's on the label, you know, and it says a burst of intense, rich coffee and chocolate aroma with ripe nuances of mulberry, plum, and maraschino cherries. I do not taste the coffee or the chocolate. Yeah.
That's just to sell the bottle.
Yeah, but that's what they said. So.
Mild acid, mild tannin, fruity aroma, bright aroma, medium body, medium alcohol. I don't know. Kind of sounds like a Pinot Noir. But the plum.
Which means you're saying it's old world, right?
Well, I don't think it would be an old world Pinot Noir. No, I don't.
Where it's grown.
I mean, it would be a really good one to serve with duck.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's a good clue. So
Kind of
I might
plummy.
be misleading you with that.
What do you think, Rick? What else do we need to know before we can guess what this is?
Yeah, it's, unfortunately, I kind of feel like the detective in the police station where the report is, what did the guy look like? Well, he's kind of medium height, medium weight, medium color, medium, I don't know who to arrest here, but
all of us.
I'm not.
Is it a New World wine?
I'm not having Pinot Noir talk to me.
Yes, it's a new world.
New world.
Mm-hmm.
And what
So
would you pair it
what's
with?
Doug? Once again, what's the fruit like?
It's kind of plummish.
Is it South American?
No.
And what would you pair it with? What would you enjoy eating with it?
I think it's a really easy one. The duck maigre is, to me, sort of like a dark meat. So I think, it should go okay with that. And it did really well with the steak, and it was, a dinner wine, but not a heavy duty dinner wine.
How many syllables?
Doug,
Yeah.
if I asked you to pick an herb, an herb kind of aroma, what would you get?
Well, see, that's where I really let you guys down. I just can't pick that stuff up. My palate is really, aboriginal.
It tastes like kangaroo.
Is it a Syrah?
That's what I was going to say. It sounds like it would be a Syrah from the description.
No. What it is, you ready?
Sure.
I'm going to make one guess that it's a Merlot.
Okay, and Bruce, do you have a guess?
I'm going to say
Other
that,
than I'm an idiot, but
it might be a California Italian grape, something like that. It's in an odd place, but California.
No.
What's the wine that they said friends don't let friends drink blank in the movie
That's Merlot.
Sideways? Huh? It's Merlot, yeah.
Merlot, yeah.
How many syllables?
Sounds like. Can you act it out, Doug?
3 syllables.
All right. It's
Does it start with a Z?
no, it's a Pinotage
Oh,
Oh,
from South Africa.
wow. So
That could be
Pinot
very
Noir
interesting.
wasn't that far
Now,
off.
now,
Pinotage.
experts, tell me, did I describe it anywhere close to what a Pinotage from South Africa would be?
That it,
Well,
you're right. It's spicy, which is not usually the Pinot thing. We weren't there, but you're absolutely right. I think you did a very good job because that does have a spiciness and it misleads to the normal Pinot.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I had a Pinotage that I did for our first tasting.
Yeah. Chris killed us with one. Yeah.
I think that the way I describe Pinotage is it's unique. I really think it's an outlier
Yeah.
to almost every other wine, you know, and
Totally.
I find it delicious. And the coffee is one of the things that I should have paid attention to, whether yours tasted like that or whether you discern that or not. But that's one of the characteristics of the Pinotage.
But Doug, I didn't hear the word smoky,
Mm.
and that's what I associate Pinotage with.
Oh, really? Then now I'm gonna have to think that one through.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we kind of nailed it,
That's
actually.
cool.
Pinotage is a kind of a cross between Pinot and Syrah.
Yeah.
It's a derivative.
It's
Good
a
call.
derivative of those
Same family.
two grapes. So, yeah, your description was good and, successfully misleading. And I think it turned out well. I think it really turned out well, Doug. Anything gamey about that wine? Anything animal about it? That's what I always get from Pinotage. No?
No.
It
Good.
pairs well with game, that's for sure. You know, I mean,
Right.
Which is why I guess the meats and and what we're gonna have it with is gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's going
it's
to be perfect.
also very undervalued, I think. I mean, it's a good bargain, for the taste and the satisfaction that you get out of it.
It was
What brand is it? Vista. No.
barista,
Barista. That's the
Yeah,
same one
that's-
that I had. Yeah.
That's Chris. Yeah.
and it has this little checker up here on the label.
Finish line flag.
Cute.
You're a man of discerning palate.
Okay, well, see, the only people we haven't heard from are me, Chuck, and Jeff, and then the four people who are on the screen but no image.
Jazz,
You got one?
Jazz, her experiment with the olive.
What happened? Anything?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did the thing. I had an olive and it did taste much sweeter. And it kind of tasted like those like triple berry blend jams or gelato or something like that. It was just sort of like dark berry mashup is kind of what it tasted like. But it was
So
totally
then-
different after the olive. So thank you. That was fun.
That's it. That's what I was looking for. Perfect.
Well,
I'm glad.
so Chuck, what do you have?
Yeah, I do have a wine here, though. I have to admit, I know virtually nothing about wine, and I haven't done the reading, but if any of you ever took a course with me at Kenyon, you'll know that's far from the course. Not being prepared, but
Well, you
still,
have
it doesn't
Cliff
keep me
Notes,
from
right?
having an opinion. It doesn't keep
You have
me
the
from-
clip notes.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Really
I
drink more.
didn't even have time to buy the wine Cliff Notes. It was just terrible. But this is a dessert wine.
Okay.
It's therefore quite sweet, extremely
Yeah.
sweet, and it has quite a kick.
Huh. Sweet with a kick.
Wow.
Port.
I don't have the right glass.
Okay.
for it,
Yeah.
not in my normal
Looked like you were
abode,
drinking
but-
it from a regular wine glass.
Yes, you normally I couldn't. They're here somewhere, but I have no idea where the smaller ones are. Because you're not going to chug a bottle of this stuff.
Well, yes, you are. I did.
Well, let me put it this way. If you do, then don't go anywhere near a flame. Because
Four of us were out for dinner, and at a restaurant we ordered port for after the meal, which, as you know, comes. Well, the new waitress she 4 ways, a whole bottle of port, 4 ways,
Wow.
and charged us per glass for port, and it was just, I'm not sure she stayed on the job very long or not. But we all had our glass of port.
Yes, right, yes. I don't know what else to tell you about it since I don't know much else about wine.
What does it look like?
It's pretty clear,
Uh-huh.
with a slight yellowish tint, but it's
There's a yellowish tint to it?
Brownish?
slight. Yes, slight.
Brownish?
Can show it to
Yeah,
us.
slight. It's mainly clear, but it's slightly yellowish, I'd say, yes.
Okay, can we see it?
Well, it's, I don't think, it's not in the right glass.
Oh.
It really belongs in a small glass, but.
That's very
that's
nice.
port.
So,
That's a port.
Well, it could be a white port, but I doubt it.
Okay.
Not too
there
many
is
people
such a
drink
thing.
white port.
Okay.
it is not. I think it comes from North America. Does that help?
Is
Mm.
it an ice
Yeah.
wine of some sort?
I was just gonna say, is it an
Ice
ice
wine.
wine
I
from
gave it away.
Canada?
It is. It's an ice wine from Canada.
Oh, wow. You made my day.
From the
Some of those make
Niagara
very good wines.
district?
It's
Wow.
in the skillet.
Oh,
ice
yeah.
I've been to
Ah.
Enniskillen.
Wow.
Very nice.
2013.
What's
Never-
an ice wine?
What's it?
What's an ice wine?
Sweet wine that is waited until the frost and is highly concentrated with sugar.
Yeah, it's
Very flavorful.
if you don't have diabetes.
Upstate
in
New
your
York
heart,
and
give it to
Canada are
Mhm.
producers of that.
And Germany too.
Yeah.
The place where,
What happens is the grapes are allowed to hang long
Right.
past all good sense, and ice forms on the outside, and it sucks the water out of the grapes, and they shrivel up, but protected by the ice coating, and then they give it a press to get rid of the ice, and they press this raisiny concentrate that is just incredible. But the important thing is, it's a real roll of the dice, because you could probably have harvested those grapes in a normal fashion, make normal wine, but instead you went for the gusto and went for the concentration. And some of the great producers of ice wines produce 175 bottles a year. I mean, it's a real tightrope walk. It's incredible.
It's very risky because to your point, 'cause
Enniskillen is lucky because they're in a zone that it's a little easier to bring it off than the Germany, but still they do a great job.
in the ice vines in Germany, it's ice vine is the first frost. The first frost waits till December, which used to be unusual. It was a Nicholas vine, meaning St. Nicholas. And if it was a first frost in January, it was King's vine, which was very rare. And
Wow.
it's a big thing. And to Rick's point, very much of a lottery. The Canadians are smarter. They pick the grapes and put them on a cookie sheet, put them in a freezer, and then they make the wine. It's much more predictable, but they make damn good wine.
Yeah.
well,
still
the
frozen grapes.
vineyard that Chuck's wine came from is from a place called Niagara on the Lake.
On the lake.
Where the
Mhm.
George
That's where
Bernard,
Shakespeare was buried, I think.
George Bernard Shaw Festival is. It's a
Okay.
lovely
Yeah,
place
that's
to
it.
go and visit.
Okay, Jeff Newton just sat down. Do you have a wine for us, Jeff?
You're muted.
Muted.
Unmute.
Jeff, you're muted.
But he can't hear us.
No, I did have a wine, but I drank it all. So
That's all right. You can
we
still
were
talk.
having dinner, like, but it was a Zinfandel from California.
Okay.
Very nice.
All right.
Wonderful.
Well, if there's
How did
nobody
it go
else
with the
that-
pasta? How did your Zinfandel go with the pasta?
It was wonderful. We had pasta with cream, ham, and peas
Yeah.
with the orecchiette, and the Zinfandel was very light. Even though it was a red, it was a very light
Okay.
red wine.
Sometimes they are.
Yeah,
Do you
and
remember?
it was delicious.
Do you remember what brand of Zinfandel it was? It was a
I
light.
can show you the bottle. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, a light
Not
Zinfandel
usually
can be
light.
really fun because it's got more guts and more pepper and more, liveliness than a Pinot Noir, but it doesn't have that heavyweight, like motor oil sometimes approach of Zinfandel.
Would the smokiness in mine go away? It's been open for an hour or more now.
Okay. So here you go. I don't know if you can see it.
Oz?
Old wine.
Old wine.
OG?
Old OZV. It's old Zin vines.
Yeah.
Old
It's a good
Zin.
one.
It's from Lodi.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And yet it's a light wine.
It was a very light wine, and I did not drink the entire bottle alone. I did it with my husband, so we had a half bottle each.
Okay.
It was great.
That's interesting then. That's very interesting.
But
What did you say, Shana?
the smokiness would go away
It did?
after the bottle's been open for a bit.
Not
always.
generally.
Not always.
The first sip led with smokiness, and now it's not so much. Maybe it's just me.
Huh. It's possible. Anything's possible. Wine is very mysterious. This whole idea of actually
It's
guessing
getting
the
more
wine.
and more mysterious as the evening goes on.
Okay.
I have a request.
Okay.
I would like to ask my classmate, David Bergman, to offer a benediction on this proceeding. And it's putting him on the spot, but I'm pretty sure he's got a poem for us.
Fine idea.
Something.
Excellent idea.
That's a great idea.
Mhm.
May the Lord follow you and give you many good wines to drink. That's my benediction.
Here, that's
Bravo.
Bravo.
Okay.
God bless that Lord.
You
Thank
ready
you.
for the last wine drinker of the evening? You ready?
Mhm.
Yeah.
This wine is a deep ruby. It has no color change around the edge, and it has definitely nice, long, thin legs. The aroma is intense, and I get ripe cherries and raspberry, and earth and clay and dust and cinnamon and oak.
wow.
This is a poem.
Maybe. And on the palate, it's a dry wine. The intensity of the flavors is about medium. I perceive the tannins, but they're very integrated. They don't stick out or make my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth. The body of the wine is medium. The alcohol, a little higher than medium. The finish, a little longer than medium. And the flavors kind of match the aroma. Raspberry, cranberry, and earth.
Earth?
What do you think this is?
Are we in Spain?
Is it an old wine or old world or new world?
I say old world.
It's old world.
Are we in Spain?
We're in Spain.
Yeah.
South Spain?
That's where Eddie lives.
So we're in the south, maybe a little bit.
Not so much. It's dusty, cinnamon, oaky, raspberry, cherry, cranberry. Not so leathery as I would have
It's
thought.
not a Rioja. It's bigger than a Rioja.
No.
Eddie, this is the first time we heard the word dusty this
Yeah,
evening.
that's right.
Is that
Definitely dusty.
is that is that a good thing?
Dusty was pretty Spanish.
It's very fun. Yeah. It is a very Spanish.
Mencia.
Mm. It's from a small region within a larger region that is extremely well known.
Mazzabella?
It is actually Rioja Alavesa
Ah,
Gran Reserva.
Wow.
And Bruce, I got this wine from Wine Till Sold Out, which is really a very good way to buy wine.
Yeah, they have the stuff that nobody else knows, and it's great stuff. Yeah.
How fun. That's great.
And I'll finish this off with one little story about this bottle. Do you see this kind of gold fishnet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's another well-known wine from Spain called everybody knows it.
Reserva de Skal.
You remember? Everybody knows what this wine is called. It's
Reserva de Skal has that, I think.
yeah, Marquis de Riscal.
yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? And so I finally asked one of my wine teachers, what's the deal with this gold fishnet around the bottle? And apparently, a while back in Spain, sometimes unscrupulous tavern owners would take a good bottle of Rioja and keep refilling it with cheap wine after the first glass, and no one would know because it had that label on it. So they put this little gold fishnet around the bottle because once you break that fishnet to get in, there's no way you can hide it. It's got to be the wine that you bought because it's got the gold fishnet on it, and that's the explanation. This wine has it. Marquis de Riscal has it, and I'm not quite sure how many other wines have this sort of throwback to the tradition of wine forgery. But to me, I thought it was interesting, and that's the other reason I opened this bottle.
Yeah,
Because
great story.
I like Rioja.
Well, the only other wine that I'm aware that has done that is Francis Ford Coppola in his claret. He has a gold net.
Has he got?
So obviously, he's savvy as far as marketing. It's not a bad wine, but it's not. It goes between $12 and $18, but it's a pretty good wine.
The cloak of authenticity.
That I've longed to wear forever.
Yeah, that would look good on you.
Well, one of the purposes of this occasional get-together is to be able to develop maybe a recommendation in this price range that we might be able to realize for our class dinner if we like. And of course, again, Lindsay Colopy and Shayna are the folks who will drive that decision or work with us. And I've reached out to my contacts at AVI since I'm still doing a lot of work with them through the gallery. And it remains to be seen whether we'll be able to navigate all the COVID and the restrictions and all that sort of stuff. But my hope is that there will be a moment where we'll be able to sort of figure out what the range of dinner entree offerings might be, and that we might be able to figure out some way. Bruce has got some extraordinary contacts within the distribution in Ohio, so that we might be able to do some corkage or something that might allow us to hit above our weight or our budget in terms of this. But we'll see how that works out. But that's whenever event. This has been such a fun opportunity that I'm sure some of us will bring our favorite bottles to share with each other. And of course, Eddie, you're warmly invited to join us if you'd like to, because this is going to be a celebration that includes 72, but 71 and 70, those classes. And so anybody who wants to join us, I think, can probably do it. So thank you very much, Eddie, for your leadership in this whole thing. And Shayna, direction of this. This is great.
Cheers.
Douglas Holbrook, executive producer.
There we go.
Yes, thank you.
And
I actually checked it. My wholesale guy that I know pretty well can sell things to Chris's guy who runs the food service, so we can get the wholesale wines bought in. If we can get the guys who run the thing at Kenya to not mark it up too much, it could be kind of fun, and we can get some pretty nice wines. They've got a nice book, and they have a lot of variety of things that are like we're drinking tonight that aren't too crazy, that are very tasty.
Nerello
Well,
Mascalese.
the wonderful takeaway from this is your wines that don't, sell .com. I mean, I think that's just a fabulous resource. I mean,
It's the damnedest good thing. It's wonderful.
It
it's
is.
a Christmas miracle. That's what it is. I
Everybody
mean,
needs more email, right? What the heck?
Let me just remind everyone that Robin and I own the Village Market. We have a liquor license, and we can actually buy anything at wholesale for our class reunion. Keep it in mind, and there will be no markup. Trust me.
Perfect. Well, I've got a wholesale guy who's living in Columbus and all that you guys can work with. Do you do anything with vintage wine?
No, I don't quite know, but I'm just saying that we can, let's talk.
Yeah,
We
but
can
if you,
look at
if you
that.
guys know vintage wine, you should know them anyhow, because they're wonderful people and they have great stuff. They have a lot of variety, a big book, good stuff.
But as we think about what we're going to do for the actual reunion, let's keep the cost down and do it at cost.
Yeah, if you need an organic chicken, we're
We
your
have.
guys.
well, we'll have to
Grass fed,
we'll have to pick carefully something that Bud
Free
can
range.
participate in, so.
Yes, free range. Yes.
Now,
Yeah,
Bud, are you good with white wines?
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
we are.
actually, we are open to be educated about what kind of wines we should have in Gambier, because this is a great opportunity for us to up our game.
Well, I don't think the students really care, do they?
No, but they obviously go to Costco anyway. So let's.
Oh, there's Costco people.
No, there's an alumni, who's on here.
Good people. Yeah, good people.
Yes,
So,
they're good people.
listen, Bud, if we get some nice whites in, Bud, would that work for you?
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely. No,
absolutely.
we can order anything.
I'm just saying that if we're ordering things for the reunion, the Village Market is there and we get it at wholesale price. So let's just
Cool.
there will be no markup at all.
Perfect.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Oaky Chardonnays.
Well, I hate
Nothing
Chardonnay.
in French oak.
And after this evening, I realize we have to really rethink what we stock in the wine.
Well, it depends on which market, the alumni market or the student market.
Well, the student market actually is.
Tripple's still good with the students.
We
Okay.
are very discerning
Yeah,
people.
we can serve both entities, absolutely. But thanks a lot. This has been great. It's
Yeah.
really been enjoyable.
And I've enjoyed listening to it while I've been cooking dinner, so.
What are you
Chuck, are you in
cooking?
New
That's
York or
Russian.
on Long Island?
What's it?
Chuck, are you in New York or on Long Island now?
Yeah, I'm in Manhattan actually today.
Okay, will you be there in next week?
Maybe.
I'll send you an email. I'm coming up Monday.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm going to the island tomorrow, but I'll probably be back sometime next week.
Okay. Be good to get together.
Yeah, absolutely.
East Village has some great restaurants.
This has been great. Thank you
Cheers.
all. Just
It's
wonderful.
gotten better and better as
No, no.
we've gone along.
You weren't drinking
Thanks
fast
so
enough.
much.
Good night, everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Great dinner, Jeff.
Nice seeing you all.
Thank you all.
Take
Thank
care.
you all. Thanks again, Eddie, and some of
Yes,
the
thank you.
wine experts.
Real or pretend.
And every- Good night.
Every little bit you learn is helpful.